Hi, I'm the Adobe guy, and today I'm going to show you how to do a feature photo with a focus box in the center. Now here's the effect we're trying to achieve, a beautiful picture of Stonehenge which you may recognize from a previous tutorial. And here we're going to take this photo and we're going to focus on a central part of the image, and we're going to change the transparency on the other part of the image and fade it out towards the edges. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I place this photo within InDesign. And the second thing I do is I draw 3 frames over the image. The center of these images, or the center of these frames rather, is where I want the focus of this image to be. So there's the first frame, that's the second one, and this third one is what's going to remain in focus. The next thing I do is I use the selection tool and I click outside of the 3 frames I've just created so that I can select the initial picture that I put in, which I then delete. Okay, so I'm now left with these 3 frames, and what I do is I place the same image within each of the 3 frames. Now what you'll see straight away is they're not lined up. Now this is why I placed that first image initially, was to get the overall outside of the frames lined up with the dimensions of the overall image. And what I do now is I size each of these images so that they all fit the overall dimensions of both of the outer frames. What I then do, I select the 2 outer frames, change the transparency down, and what I've done is I've turned it down to 75% here, which I think is adequate. You can go lower if you like. The next thing to do is to use the gradient tool and feather the outsides of the edges. Now what I've done is I've used the gradient feather tool here, which feathers away to nothing. It's called a gradient mask. The way you use this, with that tool selected, make sure you've got one of the outer frames selected, and then you click where the big red arrow is and drag across following the little red arrow. You then need to go back to the selection tool, select the other frame and do the same to that one. And all I've done now is I've made a master frame on the page and I've filled it with a gradient of blue. And this is your final effect. I'm the Adobe guy. I hope this has been useful. Thanks for listening.